2. Gonna try and hold it 14 and a half hours like our quarterfinal Friday. Hey, great shot. This is the Great Shot Podcast, a Cracked Racquets and Believe Podcast Network production. My name is Alex Gruskin. On tonight's show, we have a live emergency edition of The Deciding Point because, folks, we might have just witnessed the greatest day in men's college tennis history. And I know in the modern day with social media, hyperbole has become far too frequent, far too common in every aspect of life. But after a day that featured an opening match with 6 three-set thrilling singles battles, a second match where Stanford up 3-love, then faced 7 team match points, but ultimately survived 4-3, and you could argue neither of those matches were our best match of the day, as of course defending champions TCU pushed to the brink, back against the walls, and yet find a way to survive 4-3 against Virginia. Oh, by the way, Texas's 4-1 victory over UCLA, not too shabby either. So many thoughts to offer all of you tennis fans today. Again, so much so we just felt obliged to go live here this evening. It is currently 1:01 a.m. Central Time. Joining me to help break it all down, the man who joined me, of course, each and every day, each and every week, each and every year, it feels, over the last half-decade to help break down the Division I men's college tennis world. A man you all know best as the forefather of the college tennis ranks formula predictions, never far from the listed UTR, the lean, mean Michigan Wolverine, the professor, the man who I thought might freeze in our closet where we have broadcasted from all week long. I call it a closet. That's not a fair connotation. A shout out to Baylor. They have treated us so well all week long, all year long, all Cracked Racquets long. Brain is broken. Chris Halioris. Hey, great shot. Welcome to the show. 14 and a half hour quarterfinal Friday. I don't even think in our wildest imaginations we envisioned a day like this, and yet this was the day we got. Allow me to say it first. Holy fucking shit. What a day of tennis. What did you see, my friend?
I saw it all. I saw it all. I saw the towel covering my legs. I mean, look, it got hot, and then it cooled off, and then I got cold. Look, what a day. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, we saw everything from how you could have a match that goes 6-3 setters, and of the first 3 matches of the day, easily say that was the worst match of the day. I don't even it's as you would say, my brain is broken. How does that happen? I don't understand how that happens, folks. It's what an absolute gem of a day that I've certainly not seen. I don't know that we're going to see another one like that for who knows how long. It's just, and who else is going to, I mean, 14 and a half hours, not enough, Gruskin. We need 15 and a half hours. So we're going live for another 30.
Well, inevitably, this podcast will go an hour long because we have so much fantastic tennis to discuss. But yeah, to your point, I mean, I don't know if you remember this because it was literally yesterday, not today. Remember when Tony Bresky made the joke of, well, I'll bring my guys back out. We'll have a 2 to 3 hour practice. And I started laughing. He goes, good, I just wanted to make sure you were paying attention. Quietly one of the funnier moments that just gets swept under the rug because it was just one of those days, the days we always hypothesize about as college tennis fans, as college tennis prognosticators, and twofold. 2 things I want to say before we get into the details of all of our matches. First and foremost, you just had a feeling because all season long, Chris, we've talked about the narrative, parity. Parity is the name of the game. Yeah, there were some horses at the top. Certainly what we've seen from Wake Forest all season long, what we've seen from TCU all season long, what we've seen from Texas all season long. They earned the right to be the top 3 seeds. They earned the right to be the front runners. But the margin between them and what we always affectionately call Tier 2, it was abundantly clear by watching the results all season long, that gap is as thin as it has ever been. And certainly on a quarterfinal day where, again, we said coming into the final site, all 8 teams could legitimately look in the mirror and say, why not us? That's what we saw play out across the board. So that's part number 1. Part number 2, I just can't imagine a better display for our sport than what we were treated to today, because it was the level of competition. All 4 of our doubles points decided in a deciding tiebreak on one court. Again, we had 11 3-set singles matches through our first 2 dual matches of the day. And by the way, you know what else is great for the tournament? We are in Waco, Texas. We have 3 teams from the state of Texas heading into semifinal Saturday, and we are guaranteed a team from the state of Texas in Championship Sunday with the Texas and TCU men facing off against one another. So in terms of forecasting how these first 2 days of this final site could have gone, and by the way, no rain either. Yeah, it's been hot as fuck outside, but outside of that, like, A+, 99 out of 100. Maybe a few leads could have been better protected, but 99 out of 100. Like this, it's not hyperbole. This was the best day in men's college tennis history. This is a day you and I will talk about forever, and I want to get to the granular details of the match, but just your thoughts on that setting of the scene, Chris, because we kind of knew this was looming, but for it to deliver like this, I will say it again, I apologize, I hope it won't be, but I'll try to rein it in. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, you talked about it, the doubles points. Look, all 4, even the last match that was the one straightforward match of the day, they all go to a set apiece and a tiebreak to decide it. Look, all of you listening in, you can get back to us and tell us, even for your own team, tell me the last time your favorite team played 4 matches in a row where they decided their doubles point in a tiebreaker on the last match. Like, it just doesn't. No teams do that in a year. To get 4 consecutive matches in a day to all do that, you just knew you were off to that kind of start. And look, it's what we sneakily expected, that even your number 1 team, Wake Forest, was going to be in for a dogfight with Columbia. They didn't want to play Columbia. They knew what they had coming at them, and just up and down the line, just great matches. And you're right, it's the best way we have to showcase this sport. Hopefully, all the people watching say, you know what, I need to get out and go see this college tennis in person. I've got to see what the heck this is all about. So.
Just awesome, yeah. We're at the point where we're no longer finishing our sentences, I see. Just so is where you're going to leave me. Okay, yeah, I should know by now. I've never seen you look this fatigued, and I say that with love. Like 14 and a half hours, you look like you played all 4 matches. And again, felt like we did.
Look, I haven't had a break since I got here at 1 o'clock in the morning and rolled straight into media day that we had to be down in the lobby at 6:50 in the morning for, and then it's been long days straight back to the hotel and getting up and doing it again for these 2 days. Oh my goodness. I'm just looking more forward to not having to be here an hour before things start tomorrow to get the broadcast set up.
Well, we're going to send Owen anyways, just on principle. But no, I mean, all right, let's get into it. Let's try to talk about these matches as efficiently as possible. Started out with top seed Wake Forest taking on 8th seeded Columbia. Of course, Wake had beaten them 4-2 during the regular season, a match that had 5 3-set singles matches. And so, of course, we joked about it at the start. No way they could surpass that right here in this quarterfinal bout. A Wake Forest team looking to reach a 2nd consecutive semifinal, a Columbia team looking to reach a first ever NCAA team semifinal, and yet somehow they found a fucking way. Like, I still can't believe it. Obviously, it started with doubles, and certainly was a fantastic doubles point. Wake Forest's Suresh, Silas, 6-3 win at 1. Yet Polta, Westfall, 6-3 win at 2. By the way, ravenous Columbia crowd. Give them an extra point, half a point on the board. I know the final score was 4-1. Felt like 4-1.5 with their constant presence to see Theo Wingar. Henry Ruger, the Pham brothers, just everyone here in attendance. Columbia travels well, and they get that extracurricular part of college tennis, the energy, a part of the equation that makes things so special. But as well as high as your energy can be, as extracurricular as you try to make things, you still got to go out there and execute. And certainly for Wake Forest to execute the way they did down the stretch, Luca Pau, Luciano Tacci taking a 7-6 decision at court number 3. That led to the 1-love lead for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons, a lead again they ultimately never relinquished, but they tried to. I mean, you look across the board again, 4 first sets for Wake Forest and a doubles point. You thought, okay, this one's over, right? No one overcomes that sort of deficit against these Deeks. God damn, Columbia nearly did, and obviously it started with the first sets from them on courts number 1 and 5, Zhang and Polta, but then from a set and 4-1 down, Max Westphal, 6-4 second set. He's up 5-2 in the third when things finish. You have Thanapat Busarawangzi taking on Luca Pau. No one knocks off Luca Pau at 6, right? Certainly not a freshman playing in his first NCAA quarterfinal. Well, lo and behold, Busarawangzi, after dropping a set 6-3, he takes a 6-4 second set. Nick Kotzen, DK Suresh looked exactly like you thought it would. No breaks of serve in set number 1. Suresh comes out, plays a perfect tie break. Goose eggs Kotzen. 7-love in that first set tie break. And yet, then you have... Did Charlie Robertson win in straight sets? This scoreboard is right. I'm looking at this
old
box
matchup.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was like, this cannot be correct. Nick Kotzen, after getting blanked in that... Sorry, this is a live reaction. We would have cut that if we weren't live. Nick Kotzen, like, again, after losing that first set 7-6, gets an early break of DK Suresh for a 6-2 second set. And then from there, again, 6-7, 6-2, 6-3. He ends up taking it in 3 sets. Columbia gets that point on the board, and you just start to think to yourself, what is going on? Is Wake Forest really going to see this lead slip away? But, of course, the big moment belonged to freshman Charlie Robertson, who 7-6 first set provided that 4th first set in singles, provided that extra bit of cushioning. Obviously, in the end, it's Charlie Robertson who earns the clinch. I believe it was actually 6-1 in the third set. He knocked out senior Hugo Hashimoto for the clinch. Of course, along the way, Stefan Dostanich from a set down against the NCAA singles champion, someone who beat him 7-5 in the third back in February, to come back 2-6, 6-3, 6-4. He takes that match. By the way, to hear the Madagascar impression, Mike. I'm going to fall asleep to that tonight. Like, that's all I heard from Columbia, and it's still in my head 15 hours later. Mike. To beat both Zhang himself and that crowd, what a win from Steph. Obviously, we could talk about the Westfall of it all. His come from behind was crazy. In the end, though, again, this doubles, Dostanich from a set down. Luca Pau ultimately rightens the ship, 6-3, 4-6, 6-1. He takes it. And then, again, it is the freshman Charlie Robertson, who I just feel like has clinched everything for these Deeks this season. 6-1 in the third, he takes it. 4-1 ultimately they win. Now, for what it's worth, it was match point Max Westfall. And look, we respect the game. Throw up the X, the stall tactics from the X-Man. And I say that with respect. I ain't trying to lose either.
No, I was going to say the exact same thing. You get me to match point, and I see it is somewhere else. I'm not hurrying to the line.
Yeah, like, anyone who's criticizing them, you know what? You are a liar. Because if you're saying you're not doing that same thing, we're throwing up the X. I respect it. 4-1, they ultimately take it. Tacci was also up 5-4 in the third when that match ended. But keep in mind, he served for it. And I believe Polta got, or did Polta face a match point? Something happened with Polta. Don't you remember his? Oh, no. 3-4 deuce point. Polta held for 4-all, and that prevented Tacci from serving for it. 4-1, Wake takes it. Lions were right there once again. That was a lot of words, Chris Halioris. Floor is yours.
No,
Did I do it justice?
You did it great justice. I mean, it was just astonishing at when Wake gets you down like that, how you can manage to come back and force all of those third sets when it looked like they were just down and out. It was a tough climb back, and they just would not go away. And the the Columbia, as you mentioned it, the Columbia crowd, the crew, the whatever you want to call that group was just outstanding and trying to pull their folks through. And look, it was not lost on me when we asked about it in the post-match interview with Coach Bresky. The very slight wry smile that he gave said, yes, I heard them loud and clear, and I'm not going to acknowledge it on camera. That's what I got out of Coach Bresky's reaction. He knew where those guys were all match long.
Mike.
What I want to know, when Mike comes home for the holidays, are the parents going to have it on recording? And they're going to he's pulling up, honey. He's pulling up. And Joe goes and puts it on. Mike. That's got to be playing when he walks through the door, just so he's like, oh, come on.
I mean, look, again, to beat Columbia, like, you should have to beat Michael Zhang. That feels like the rite of passage. And if you do beat Michael Zhang, you've thoroughly earned the victory. That's what they did. They beat Michael. They grabbed the doubles point. Again, you feel like whoever plays four for them, whether it's the X-Man, whether it's Robertson, that's a spot Wake Forest has to grab. They grab it. If Pau is your six, you have to put that point on the board. They do. Columbia was so resilient, and I cannot emphasize this enough. Their crowd is what kept them alive in this match. It really should have been 4-2.5 because throw it up, X-Man. And Westfall probably should have gotten over the finish line, but they lingered because that crowd would not let them die. And it just speaks to the spirit, the culture that head coach Howie Endelman has built. You talk about wins above replacement. I'm not sure any fan has a higher warp than Rob Endelman and just his value on the sidelines. And look, it got to the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. I don't know if any of you were watching set number 1 when Dostanic tomahawked his racket at the back fence, or, again, poor Anthony Montero, poor Richard, poor Andrew, just like the whole crew, like they were hearing it, like, what are we doing here? It was awesome. It was the energy of a match you want to see, and now for Wake Forest, 38-1. They're through to a second consecutive semifinal. Like, they're working in some new pieces, right? Like, Dostanic is new. Silas is new. Robertson is new. Didn't miss a beat. Again, even pick things up a little bit from where they left things in 2024 through to another semifinal. Tip of the cap. What a year for the Lions. They're just a top 10 program. They're working their way to, in fitting fashion, they're a light blue blood. They're not a full blue blood yet, but in Columbia fashion, they are a Lions blue blood thus far and working their way to they've consolidated. We expect to see them compete in May now at the highest levels. But, of course, Wake Forest through, and up next for them, a date with the Stanford Cardinal, a Stanford team that is through to its first semifinal in over 20 seasons. And, again, after a 6-3-set singles match in match number 1, you thought, no way would 4th-seeded Stanford versus 13th-seeded Mississippi State match that in drama. It so thoroughly did. And once again, it started in doubles. Number 1 team in the country, Ivanovic, Sanchez, Martinez, they looked like it. 6-3, they took it over Godsick, Hudson, Rivera. Of course, that was a 1-break difference on court number 1. Court number 3, Banerjee and Rezegi played their best ball of the season in a 6-4 victory for the number 48 duo in the country. They knock off senior Dusan Milanovic, junior Michael Navansky. All of that led us to court number 2. And by the way, you could tell court number 2 was going to be the swing set. Both teams traded breaks throughout the course of the set. Ultimately, Kyle King and Henry von der Schulenburg face 2 match points, down 4-5, down 30-40. They fight them both off, and in the end, 7-6, King, von der Schulenburg take it over Baroni and Martinez Serrano. 1-love lead for Stanford, of course. Then Stanford comes out. They grab 4 first sets in singles. First set for Banerjee at 1. First set for King at 2. First set for Godsick at 3, and then the longer first set for Henry von der Schulenburg at 4. And because it was offset, because they were well into second sets, by the time von der Schulenburg took that first, you thought, okay, we saw the drama in the first one. But this time, doubles in a 4 first set lead, there's no way this match gets complicated. Well, guess what? We said this at the start. Texas conditions were so better suited for Mississippi State than they were for Stanford. You've seen The Dark Knight Rises when Bane says, I was born in the darkness. You simply adapted it. That's this Mississippi State team. They were born in this 90-degree humidity weather of darkness. And they just didn't fucking quit. And, the turnaround started with Peter Jovanovic, who, of course, down a set to Kyle Kang, cruises through set number 2. That started the rally. After that, you saw the second set go the way of first set for Mario Martinez Serrano during that time. You got a first set from freshman Nicolo Baroni as well. With those 3 sets, you thought, okay, Mississippi State is at least alive in this one. And then, again, credit to Nico Godzik. No one's going to remember his match because it felt like it was 7 days ago. That's the best I've ever seen the sophomore play. His best Roger Federer impersonation early on the rise. 3-4 win. He closed out Hernandez Cortez. After that, Hammer Hank hammering home. Another victory, 4-5. He knocked out Dusan Milanovic. So yes, Mississippi State made their push, but down 3-love, down for 4 first sets overall. You thought, okay, this is where the match is going to finish, right? One of Kang, one of Banerjee will find a way to get over, Banerjee and Rezegi will find a way to get over the finish line here. Just so thoroughly not the case. And again, it started with Jovanovic, 3-set win on court number 2. After that, the turnaround from Mario Martinez Serrano after he dropped that second set 6-2. How many times have we seen Alex Rezegi, first take your legs, then take your soul at that number 6 position? Martinez Serrano said, no. You think you make balls? Watch what I do. 6-4, 2-6, 6-4. He takes it, narrows the deficit to 3-2. And again, now we're left with just a couple of matches left on court. You've got Benito Sanchez Martinez at 1. You've got Nicolo Baroni at 3. Each of them up breaks in that third set, right?
Yeah, they were up breaks in when they were down 3-0. They were up breaks in all 4 remaining matches.
See, this is why I need him here, folks, for the live show. Again, down 3-0, but up breaks in all 4 matches. Again, first Domino Fall Jovanovic. Next, Martinez Serrano. Next, how about Benito Sanchez Martinez, 4-6, 6-4, 6-4. He knocks out the number 7 player in the country, Samir Banerjee. And through all of that now, you head to Nicolo Baroni, the freshman, the top 10 newcomer. He was up 5-2 in the third set. Had 7, let me say that again, 7 match points over the course of the next 30 minutes. And by the way, there was a distinct moment when Benito Sanchez Martinez and Nicolo Baroni had simultaneous match points to complete the comeback and put Stanford away. And yet on all 7 match points, senior Max Basing of Stanford had a fucking plan. And that plan was, I'm going down swinging. I'm being the aggressor. I'm playing +1 tennis. And if you hit a passing shot that beats me, I'll clap the racket too good from Baroni. He couldn't find one. Basing kept on attacking forward, a couple of long exchanges, overheads into volleys, into another overhead, into volley. You think about the 6-5 match point Basing had where he had a shoulder height forehand that he had just been cranking on his way to come back from 5-2 down. He missed that one in the net, and you thought, oh my God, is that his window closed? In the end, Max Basing, who has dealt with more injuries, more turmoil than maybe anyone else on this Stanford roster over the last 3 seasons. The senior's the guy who delivers from 7. Like, this isn't a Game of Thrones thing. In the light of the 7. 7-6 in the third, he takes it. Stanford survives. In the immediate aftermath, our interview with head coach Paul Goldstein, I would love to put a whoop on him during that and wonder what the heartbeat was, because it certainly seemed like it was racing. I mean, he put in more steps than anyone. I'll shut up, Chris Halioris. Your reaction to it all?
Yeah, I don't know if he was. I don't know if the heart was racing for him because, first of all, he looks like a super fit guy. Still, I don't think that heart rate gets up very high. I think it's just it was just had to do something to stay busy. Like, we saw him, he was literally playing ball boy on the court. Like, the ball would go to the, he would just, wherever it was, he ran and got it. He was like your little brother that you're out on the court playing, and you're like, Johnny, go away. And he's like, no, I'm just going to get the balls. And that's what Goldstein was doing. He was running around getting the balls and just keeping busy.
Before you get too deep into it, because on that, there was a distinct moment where in a 2-minute stretch, he was on court 5, and then he was all the way across the building on court 6. And you're like, dude, you just ran a 4.40.
Yeah. He was absolutely everywhere. But, I mean, you just had it's going to be a very, very difficult one to get over for the freshman Nicolo Baroni. 5-2 deuce on the basing serve. Basing led 40-15 in that game. It gets back to deuce. He's got a match point there. This is before the entire team match really got to where it was. Doesn't get that one. Gets to 5-4. Basing serving at love 40 at that point. The first two he's got match points at, not in sync yet with Benito, but then he gets to that point, I believe, where it was 30-40. Benito's got match points at the same time. Benito finishes, and now, or it might have been the 15-40 point, because when it got to 30-40, now it was all on him. Everything else was done. That's the point where we went 3-all, doesn't get either of the next two, and you're just thinking, oh, he's going to fold. Right? I mean, and the next game he goes down. Now he's serving, and he goes, 15-40 on his own serve, finds a way back to hold for 6-5. Then he gets 30-40, two more match points. That's how we got the 7. One at 5-2, 4 at 5-4, and then a couple more at 6-5, and just couldn't get one. And that's the kind of thing that you're just, I mean, you're not sleeping much tonight thinking throughout, like, what could I have done better? But it's not like he choked anything off there. He didn't miss a ball on top of the net. He just,
Basing earned it.
Yeah, sure, maybe he can find a ball in there where he said, I could have gone for something more, but he didn't play anything poor there. Max Basing just wouldn't let him get a point. Max Basing took it away, and that's, that was the difference maker. And I would argue, we say 7 match points that they had. I would argue they had 9 match points, because the 2 match points they had in doubles also could have, I mean, now the match maybe doesn't play out the same way,
though.
But those 2 match points there were for a point, and they didn't get it. So 9 match points in total that could have been the difference for Mississippi State.
First of all, our friend John Parsons always likes to say, let's bring back 2018 Alex Gruskin. So here's a 2018 moment. Let me just scoop up those balls off the ground if I'm Max Basing and throw them over my shoulder, because the nuts on that man. I mean, again, 7 match points down. You said it so perfectly. Nicolo Baroni didn't give anything away. Max Basing went out and took it. And the amount of overheads, the amount of volleys he hit at the net to stay alive in that moment. Again, scoop those balls up off the ground, senior Max Basing. You're going to need them again tomorrow. You said it. Like, last time, just to recap the swings. Mississippi State, 2 match points for doubles on court number 2. Stanford, up a doubles point, up 3-love overall, or up a doubles point in 4 first sets, then up 3-love overall. Then you have Mississippi State. Yes, down 3-love overall, but up breaks in all 4 of the deciding sets. Then you have the simultaneous match point moment that goes along with the 7 match points you saw for Mississippi State at 3. And then again, scoop up those balls. Max Basing gets over the finish line. First semifinal in over 2 decades. There's a little bit of history. We found a bunch of different nuggets throughout the course of the day. The last time Mississippi State had reached the semifinals, they faced Paul Goldstein's 1998 Stanford team, of course, the most legendary team, the best team in men's college tennis history. Dropped, 2 total points, I believe, or 3?
2 or 3. I think it's 3.
Total on their way throughout a national championship season. Again, and that was on the precipice, or that was on the back, of that Wake Forest-Columbia match. And you're just like, we're 8 hours into our day. It was 6 p.m. Central Time, and we had only completed 2 matches.
And there was no chance in the world you could have convinced me that you could even come close to what happened in that match. Look, in the totality of the 2 matches, 4-1 but 6 3-setters, followed by 3-love to 3-all, fighting off 7 match points for Stanford and winning that match 4-3. I would have said, 4-3 from 3-love down. I don't know how you top it.
No, and it's just worth noting again, Max Basing was a top 20 player in the country his freshman season. He got ruined by injuries in year 2, ruined by injuries in year 3. To have this sort of moment, like, no one deserves it more because of the hard work he put in behind the scenes. I know how much his teammates respect him. I can't emphasize enough, like, I don't want the Nico Godzik performance to be lost because I have never seen him play like that. And when we saw him listed at 5, I think we were both surprised. Then to have, by the way, I thought it was going to be Racquets. I thought it had to be Racquets. It's been Racquets all year long for Stanford. He loses, and I think, oh my God, okay, Mississippi State's really going to do this. By the way, because I only remember the criticisms, not the positive comments. Those are the ones I like most. Someone on Twitter tweets out, wow, can you guys stop showing Stanford biased? And the amount of restraint it took from saying, his fucking nephew was Trevor Fauché. Like, I was thinking it the whole time. Like, you're really calling us Stanford biased? Thanks. Like, that we really are doing a good job. Yeah, just fucking crazy. What a win. And now we can determine they should bring the ACC regular season trophy. They should bring the ACC tournament trophy. And you should play for both. Because that's what we're doing tomorrow. Again, Stanford, your ACC tournament champ. Wake Forest, your ACC regular season champ. Rubber to decide the match to decide. Well, it's not a rubber match because Wake Forest.
That comes in the last one.
Yeah. But who needs to speak? We're live. Who cares? Quick reaction, because obviously some people will be listening to this and you feel like that match. Oh, actually, yeah, for all we know, could be another long day tomorrow. Just Wake Forest, Stanford, your original read. Let's run through the match calculus real quick. Doubles.
Oh, Wake. I mean, look, Stanford, it was tremendous for them, and in the end, they needed it today. Wake's just been unbelievable in doubles, and it's going to take another effort like they had today. It's going to be tough. Wake's got to be the favorite in doubles.
Steph versus Banerjee.
Steph.
Oh. Suresh versus Kang.
I'll take Kang.
Okay. Basing versus Silas.
Basing.
Even after 7, like, who has more energy left? That's a good question.
I mean,
you can't pick against Basing after that. But
how do you say, the guy just fought off 7 match points, but he's going to lose tomorrow. I mean, plus, we're talking about some 19 to 23-year-old guys for the most part here. I mean,
I know your take. Yeah, they're fit. They'll be fine. They've been in the ice bath. They've had 24 hours.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Robertson versus Von der Schulenberg might be my favorite individual matchup of the day.
Yeah, I mean that's the tough one because you think you've got to favor Von der Schulenberg, but Robertson's been the clutch guy now down the stretch here for this team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've got Steph in doubles on Wake right now. You went to Kang,
Basing, Von der Schulenberg to Stanford. So
that means if I'm taking Wake, I have to go
5 Tachi.
Tachi and Powell.
And
the one that I don't feel really great about is Tachi.
Yeah, versus
Godzik. Godzik looked great.
Great today.
Tachi's been not fantastic, but good. Powell, forget it. He's been fantastic. So you're going to lean Luka Powell there.
Although, can I just say 2 lefties and he and Racquets who do some things similar, who both get a little funky with the wrist on the forehand side. I love that match,
that could be a really tricky one, too. There's one of those in there, I can see that getting there. Maybe, those are my leans, but I will say this. I was leaning, the one I'm probably closest to switching my take on here is I'm leaning Kang at 2, but if DK serves big, it all seems to come down to that for him, and maybe that's the difference maker there. It's just going to be tight. What was it, 4-2 when they played during the season?
Sounds
what
right.
was it?
Wake Forest wins that match. It was the first weekend of the ACC regular season, and so
it's not even the same Stanford
team. It's both teams are different. Like, it's just a different. And by the way, I don't know if they had Dostanich in that Stanford match. In fact, I don't think Wake Forest.
I don't think they did.
Yeah, because it was right after indoors, and Dostanich went off to do some pro tennis stuff. I mean, here's the thing. Neither fan base gets to say, well, we weren't rested well enough, because Wake Forest played 6 3-set singles matches, and Stanford played 5 3-set singles matches. So it's actually
4.
kind of 5. The only one who won in straights was Godzik.
Von der Schulenberg.
And Von der Schulenberg. 4. Just kidding. I knew I kept you around for a reason. But that Hammer Hank match was 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, like,
it played
I
like
wanna
a
be
three-setter.
clear. I don't feel that wrong in my answer, but I am wrong in that answer. We're not on the call tomorrow, so I guess I picked Wake Forest in my bracket. I'll just stick with Wake Forest, but yeah, roll the balls out. Let's play some tennis. Again, another pivotal doubles point, and in a final set where all of our men's doubles matches have gone to a deciding tiebreak. Expect that again, I suppose, tomorrow afternoon, of course. Then we'll have our nightcap, as Coach Burke told us in his post-match interview, believes it's the 11th time in the last 4 seasons that TCU and Texas will have faced off. Let's start on the TCU side of things, because another one of those matches where you're just like, what did I just witness? It was so exceptional from the start. To see Pedro Vivez, Louis Maxted back together, the Falls NCAA doubles champions. It's like riding a bike for the two of them. Again, so sound, so fluid. 6-4 in what was a really high-level match between them, James Hopper, Keegan Rice. Then, court number 3, if you're Virginia, you feel like you have the best player in the nation at your number 3 doubles position in Rafa Hodar. He and Roy Horovitz. 6-4, they take it over Albert Peterico, Duncan Chan. Peterico, as Coach Roditi reinforced, breathtakingly bad error to end that set on a 4-5 deuce point where he had a forehand quite literally on top of the net. Like, not a hypothetical on top of the net. This is a quite literal, like on top of the net.
Yeah, like I would be upset if I missed it.
Like, Hodar and Horovitz could smell his breath and be like, dude, why would you eat onions before the start of a match like this? Yeah, or like, dude, you guys went to Chipotle before the match? So did we. 6-4 Horovitz, Hodar take it. Comes down to court number 2. Pennington Jones and Westendijk had an early break. Dahlberg, Dietrich grabbed it right back. Came down to a deciding tiebreak. There was a moment when it was 3-2 Virginia where there was a ball in the center of the court, and it was very much Jack Pennington Jones' backhand to take. And Westendijk went and hit a sloppy forehand that he missed long. And PJ let him have it. Said, dude, why would you take that? That is entirely on my side. And in that moment, I thought to myself, oh, no. Like, they're fighting. This is going to break the chemistry. I mean, I didn't think, oh, no, in a sense of I'm rooting for anyone. I just, again, evaluating. It's like, this is where the set ends for them. Like, they're going to fight. It's not going to work. Dietrich and Dahlberg, they love each other. Like, they were playing so positive. Like, that's where it's going to be. This is going to be the turning point. And then Jack Pennington Jones woke the fuck up. And, like, we can talk about a lot of good shots that we saw today. The backhand inside-out return he hit on match point to secure the doubles point. In terms of things that we saw that were best on the day, that's top 3. Like, just inside-out backhand return winner. 7-4, they take the tiebreak. 1-love lead TCU. Of course, I will rapid fire here more quickly through the singles because I feel like I'm monologuing a lot.
Before you even go there, your take, I think.
Interrupt me more.
It'll be interesting at some point when we get to talk to JPJ here on what that conversation was, because I saw it as well. I didn't take it as much of a fight. I thought my first reaction was PJ looked at Cooper and was just like, my take on his reaction was, dude, we got to communicate. Like, I don't think there was a fight there. I don't even know that he was thinking that's totally my ball. I think it was just more of a look at, like,
be decisive.
How did neither one of us say anything, right? Like, and I think it was that. It's like, hey man, we got to talk. Like,
but I guess my thinking to push, not a pushback, but just a response. It felt like an admonishment, and to do that to a freshman in a moment like that, like that's where I thought, like a lesser person, if your junior leader is talking to you like that in a moment like that, like. I felt rattled. Imagine what's going through Cooper's head.
Oh man, we saw enough of those guys.
No, they're grown men.
I don't think there's any part of Cooper Westendijk that's intimidated by Jack. It's they're a team, and if Jack's got something to say and he says it, I think Cooper just takes it, and it's what it is. It's business, like it's tennis, and they're just trying to win a match. And we can get together and fight about something, knowing that we're both going after the same goal, and we are well intended. We just didn't get to the end the way we wanted to, and so we get under each other's skin a little. I don't think he's intimidated at all.
Are you talking about me and you now, or Cooper and Jack? I'm a little confused. I'm a little scared. I'm like, when did Chris and I fight? I think we only fought. It wasn't even a fight.
Almost on the air today.
Yeah. No, that was yesterday.
Hello.
2 days ago.
Yeah,
that was just Brantmeyer was injured.
That's right.
No, I was thinking. I think the only time we've even yelled it wasn't even a yell. The only time where I think you were done with me was Velvet Taco in the fall, where you were just like, "Shut up, Gruskin. I'm not in the mood right now." You know what I'm talking about. Sorry. Awkwardness is funny. Yeah, you're right. Again, like Junior Slam doubles champion. You're right. I just think you take it to heart if Jack Pennington Jones is talking to you, because that's national champion Jack Pennington Jones for TCU, and you're a freshman. Anyways, I'm projecting a lot on what was like a 4-word exchange, by the way.
Yeah.
But 14 hours, folks. Let me have some fun. Again, from there, it was as tightly competitive as you would have expected. 3 first sets apiece. Let's start with the Eagle. Caw! Dylan was top 50 in the world today. Like, there were times when Pedro Vivez was lucky to touch 2 balls in a Dietrich service game because it was winners. It was serve +1 at its finest. Similarly, only 2 breaks of serve in the match on court number 1. Hodar, a 6-4, 6-3 victory, obviously getting 1 break per set. Both of them at the end of the sets. You did feel like Hodar was in control the entire time. Just Jack had so much difficulty gaining any sort of traction in the Hodar service game. So 2 straightforward points on the board for the Who's on the TCU side of things. They did grab 3 first sets. Maxted, Pederico, and then that Duncan Chan match we'll get to in a second. But for El Gato, cool as a cat, Louis Maxted, 4-5. He was down 5-3 in his second set to Keegan Rice. Got broken on a call he objected to, and you could just see you pissed off El Gato. Not intentionally. I'm not trying to question the integrity of Keegan Rice. Big Keegan Rice fan. But it pissed off Louis Maxted. And a pissed off Louis Maxted is just money in 2025. Break, hold, break, hold. Louis Maxted, after going down 2-1, steadies the ship for Virginia. You also had Albert Pederico. He was up a set in 2-1. To quote head coach David Roditi, I thought Albert was dead. And
yeah, he said at 2-1, he said he couldn't move.
And he couldn't breathe, and all of a sudden he's down 4-2, and it just feels like the junior Mons Dahlberg, who of course was an essential cog in the 2023 National Championship run for the Who's, he gets a little traction. He's up 4-2, but then Pederico just gets hot. And of course, 6-3, 6-4, he ends up closing things out. So 3-2 TCU leads. We had 2 third sets to decide things. By the way, Cooper Westendike was down a set to James Hopper. He forced a third in this process as well, so you feel like, okay, TCU's got some comfort here. Match went 3 sets between Jung Joon Kim, Duncan Chan. We'll get back to that one in a second. But again, 3-2 TCU leads, 2 third sets remaining, courts 4 and 6. As all eyes turn to those courts, it is Virginia who is up early breaks on court 4. On court 6. And look, it was a 6-1 third set for James Hopper. Did Cooper Westendike play tight like a freshman? Absolutely, at times he did. But there were also, I think, 4 deuce points, 3 deuce points.
Very tight
that all went the way of James Hopper. And you're not going to find a bigger fan of James Hopper than I am. I'm going to miss having James Hopper in college tennis so dearly because that guy epitomizes what this sport is about. The intensity, the passion, the charisma, the athleticism, the fire. I know fire and passion are synonymous, but for him to take a 6-1 set over Cooper Westendike, again, like there was a world where James Hopper was probably a 2-star recruit at some point in his high school career. Cooper Westendike's been a blue chip since he was 9 years old. Like, who played Little Mo's? I'm going to bet Cooper Westendike played Little Mo's back in the day. To 6-1 him there, like, it sucks that that's how this is where James Hopper's career ended because college tennis is better for his years in the sport. Again, he and Jung Joon Kim are both up breaks. Jung Joon has a look to go up 4-1. Hopper's pulling away from Westendike. And then all of a sudden, the man himself, there's only one, and we're living in his wonderland, Duncan Chan. Coach Roditi said it perfect. He just gets in his zone. And I probably should have started with this. But the biggest lineup question we had was, do you go Pascual, who has been lights out the lefty at 6, Or do you ride with the big hitting Duncan Chan, who, when hot, had the exact game style, the aggressive tennis, the ability to rush the Jung Joon Kim backhand, approach behind it. And for 25 minutes, it was the best of Duncan Chan. From 3-1 down, 6-4 he takes it. There's only one Chris Halioris. I probably just glossed over the aggression of Duncan Chan. I mean, you saw the tears from him after the match. Just the coolest Roditi report, maybe in history. Floor is yours. Break down this match for us.
Look, I felt like in talking to Coach Roditi after the match that, and I always love talking to him after the match because he's one of the very few coaches that will tell you, no coach is going to tell you, that's the point. At that point, I thought we lost. Yeah. Like, he'll tell you 100%. That, and he did. And I think he and I were on the same wavelength when it came down to those two matches. Literally, in my head, I was like, it's West and Dyke or they're lost. Like, Duncan Chan was obliterated in that second set.
6-1.
And it just didn't look close.
No, and he was slapping at the end, and it was just a disaster.
Yeah. Now, and, of course, once the set's getting away from you, some guys are always just going to bide their time, try to get a hold so that at least they get to start to serve the third. But, who knows how that's going to go. But, I was totally reliant on Cooper Westendijk at that point. And Coach Roditi said the same thing. He said, until the last ball was hit, I thought it was there. I thought we were, it was deuce points here and there. Everything was close, and I believed that he was going to be able to come back, and that's where I thought it was. And when maybe it was a little exaggeration that he said until the last ball, but I was still there until it got to 5-1. When it hit 5-1, that was the point at which, and I said it on the broadcast, this is the time, shift all the guys to court 6. Yeah. This is where we've got to put the focus now. 5-1 looks like now you can't abandon him completely. You don't want to hang your freshman out to dry, but I think at that moment, even Cooper Westendijk would have realized, I'm going to do everything I can to stay out here, but by all means, like, it's only one break over there. Go get on him. And Duncan Chan just turned it on. Coach Roditi said there's a point at which he just finds another level, and from 3-1 down, 4-2 down, he runs it off. I think it was 4-2 at that point, wasn't it? And then 4 straight games, he gets it back on serve, gets to 5-4, and then finds the break to win it. Just unbelievable finish. I think in the end, to me, and this is why I said it was so hard to top that Mississippi State-Stanford match. But the way that one ended, when it was only 2 matches left and Virginia up a break in both of them and looking like they were not just questionable breaks, they were up breaks and rolling. Westendijk was well out of it. Duncan Chan had just been blitzed 6-1 in the second, and it was all of a sudden 3-1. I mean, that's 9 out of 11 games, and it looked hopeless. And that's the point where I thought, I said, still, you got to take the points on the board.
Well, this was the ultimate test of your theory, and your take the points on the board theory won out supremely today.
Yeah, Chris. Maybe if everybody's double breakdown, you might start, okay, now what? But you take the points on the board. It's the same reason they tell you in football when you kick a field goal and there's a penalty on the team. You just never take points off the board. It's a sure thing. You take it. You take the points on the board. But I did not feel good at all about being TCU in that spot when I was down in those positions. And Duncan Chan found a way. It was remarkable. You mentioned, we saw all the emotion from him afterwards, but he was his finishing stretch, and I think
I interject? The second to last point, the penultimate to set up the match point,
the
discipline and the patience to wait to find the right one.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and you just saw you saw it in the body language, the swagger.
Yes.
He hits the ball and just walks like, you're damn right you knew that ball was coming.
Well, him and Basing, 2 I would like to point out, who said, fuck it, let's swing. And, it was a big day for fuck it, let's swing. Like that, play to win. Don't play not to lose. The two players who were in the clinch, Basing, Duncan Chan, they so thoroughly play to win. Like that's the lesson in all of this. And my final 2 points on this match, part 2 of that, the lesson in it. If you're Cooper Westendijk, you lose that match, and 95% of the time your team loses, your season's over, and you got to dwell on it all summer. Talk about the mulligan. Talk about the get-out-of-jail-free card he was handed by teammate Duncan Chan to learn from that moment and say, I'm not going to let that happen again. I have experienced this now. It's the ultimate lesson to be provided. Like, play to win. That's what Hopper did. That's what Basing did. Certainly that's what Duncan Chan did. Last piece of this all, because I was starting to think about it, and my brain does still work. Last year, like, we did have Ohio State-Columbia. Excellent match. You had the Iñaki Montez and Virginia staying alive despite Armando Rodesh being pulled from the lineup, Wake Forest ultimately taking it. You also had that fantastic Texas-Tennessee match. You remember Spiz coming down back against Monday?
Against Monday, yeah.
But here's the thing. In those 3 matches, Texas, Wake, Ohio State, who all ultimately won, they were in front from the start. And while they were pushed, you never felt fully that the pendulum had swung to where the other team was the favorite. You couldn't say that through our first 3 matches today. Like, there was a legitimate window for Columbia. There was obviously a team match point for Mississippi State. And yes, they were down 2-3, but again, with Hopper cruising as he was, Jung Joon Kim seemingly solving the Rubik's Cube that is Duncan Chan's aggression, like, you just thought to yourself, oh my God, you're going to see full flips. And the constant swinging of that pendulum, that's why this day is better than 2023. That's why it's better than 2022 as well. I don't even know if you remember, Kentucky beats TCU, the number 1 seed that day. Shirtless James Mackay and the Tennessee-Baylor match that we'll always remember. Michigan, Ohio State. You know, again, Michigan had beaten Ohio State twice consecutively. The first 2 wins for them over Ty Tucker in like 2 decades. And then Ohio State comes out and beat them. And then you had Virginia beating defending national champions Florida. And, like, that was a ridiculous day. This was better. Like, it really just was. And, again, 2023, Virginia, Kentucky was awesome. The first 2 hours of TCU, Michigan was awesome. There were a lot of good matches. But it wasn't this. Like, I'm not crazy, right? It wasn't back to back to back to the point where, by the way, we're starting our last match at 9:30 Central for a 7:30 Central start time.
And it's rushed.
Yeah, and
they made the announcement that match was going to start. You know, our director of operations here at Baylor came in and told us, hey, they're starting at 9:20 no matter what. We looked at the clock when she told us that. It was 9:10, and the previous match was still going. Forget the 15 minutes, and you made the comment off air. Like, you muted.
I'll say it on air. I said there is not a chance in hell Bruce Burke lets this match start when this. Like, he's going to get this going.
Yeah,
we know Bruce.
He's going to ask, right? Yeah, like don't let us sit around. Let's go. Like, as soon as this match on the right side of
100%.
Iowa is done, and they're only playing on 4 and 6, let's go.
Yeah. And by the way, that's a compliment to Bruce, who's like, I'm trying to take every minute I can for my team.
Yeah, that's it was, and that is exactly what they planned on doing. As it worked out, that match didn't end up going to a 3rd set tie break or something like that, where maybe they would have had to start it right around 9:20. It finished. So they did wait about 5 or 6 minutes, and they got that next one rolling. But they were ready to go and have both matches rolling at the same time.
I really hope people listen to this podcast from start to finish, because I just want you to know 15, 16 hours into this day, wherever we are. By the way, this time yesterday, I was waking up in my bed, and I was like, wow, I really have to pee. I'm really excited. I just want you to know, like, I remember looking at the clock, and it was 1:53 a.m. exactly. So 24 hours later, and the next day still hasn't finished. What a day! Can I just say, my favorite joke was when I compared my ego to David Rodides, and we both have big egos, but I think mine's slightly bigger. It was a joke in the context of a 14.5-hour broadcast. I thought the joke landed. I thought it was a good one at the time.
It was
good. All of that is to say, I don't even remember the point I was trying to make there. There was something good coming up. I was rounding into it, I promise. for my ability to remember both now and before I lost my train of thought, like to be able to relitigate 2022, 2023, and 2024's quarterfinal history. The brain still works.
It's there.
Chris
It's there.
Halioris, let's go. When we write our book, it's more than is there a complete history of college tennis. Like we might actually be able to do it. Yeah, it's just like. It was just incredible from the start. And by the way, we are going to completely shortchange Texas because all due respect to UCLA, after they dropped doubles, no Alex Hoog-Martins, they just weren't ready for this moment. Texas comes out, they grab doubles, they grab 5 first sets. Timo'd against Rudy Kwan. The big match for Seb Eriksson to win that match in straight sets over Spencer
That was
Johnson.
huge.
An incredible win. Fitting that it's P.Y. Bailly ultimately earning the clinch and, again, sending Texas to their, what is it, Chris? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a deep cut for him.
5 out of 6.
5 out of the last 6 NCAA tournament semifinals. By the way,
He's deep cutting me for having to count on his fingers. That's the ego.
Texas TCU, it's going to be their 11th matchup in the last 4 years. It's, again, 2 teams from the state of Texas competing here in Texas. Texas, yes, got off court after midnight, but they had the least arduous match by far of any of the teams. And again, as Bruce Burke said, we've been waiting all year. We've had a game plan for how we're going to handle this. We're not going to shortchange any step just because of the hour of the day. We're going to ice bath. We're going to eat. We're going to stretch. We're going to do all the things we need to do to be ready for tomorrow. 11th match allegedly in the last 4 years. I do believe also it is a 5-5 dead heat between these two programs. Obviously, NCAA title they faced off last year. That one went to TCU. Shall we run through the matchups one more time before we wrap the show? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, here's all I'm
if we didn't
say.
say anything about UCLA, any thoughts on the match?
No, well, what I was going to say just as we approach the Texas TCU matchup that's coming, and I made this comment to Coach Roditi, but I'm going to be very interested to see how the TCU guys turn it around, because while they may not agree, I felt like PJ and Pedro were underdogs today. Like, you just had to favor. I just can't favor Pedro right now because his second match back. A fully healthy Pedro, that might be a hell of a match with Dietrich. You're going to favor Dylan Dietrich at this point. And Hodar's just outside of Colton Smith, like, maybe you want to see that Timo again, but you're just not gonna not favor him against anybody. So I think that those were matches where you thought those guys were not counting on them. I wasn't counting on them. I said right away, doubles, you're gonna take 3-4. They didn't end up getting Cooper, but 3-4. And then find one of either 5 or 6. But I'm writing 1 and 2 over to Virginia, and Virginia did get 1 and 2. But I think it's going to be a complete flip now, and that's where I think it's going to be so important between Cooper, who lost today, and PJ, who lost today, and Pedro, who lost today. That's not going to be the expectation now going forward. PJ's already split matches with Timo, and those guys are going to be counted on, and can they, and I think PJ absolutely can they turn it back around? Like, hey, short memory, forget what happened yesterday, and it may be 3 totally different guys in singles today if they can get a doubles point, but you got to forget it and put it behind you. I'm very much looking forward to see if they can indeed just say, look, we don't care what the recipe is. It could be 3 guys win one day and lose, and then it's another 3, and we completely flip it the next day. That's something I'm very much looking forward to. You mentioned Texas UCLA, just to finish the day with that after everything we had in what you call, as you called it, right, the most straightforward match the only straightforward match we had of the day. There was a moment there late where it looked like UCLA, they got back on serve in a couple matches, and they might be able to make a push, and they just couldn't follow through, and you just had that feeling that it was too much Texas from the get-go, and they just couldn't get over the hump, and Texas pushed them. But, an absolutely fantastic year. It's a shame that we didn't see. I never did hear why no Hoog Martins in in singles. It's a shame we didn't get to see it because they finished so strong from the regular season, winning a Big Ten championship in Columbus. It's I would have liked, obviously, hell, I wanted to see another 4-3 match to finish the night. It's 2:50. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock Central Time.
Yeah.
We're still here. Why wouldn't I have wanted to watch another hour of tennis?
No, and Owen wanted to point out 8:45 a.m. is when we got here. I wonder if people are getting ready to park for graduation now. Like, that's what they were dealing with when we got here.
It's all right. I'll cut in front of them.
So, yeah, we've been here for 17 straight hours. Yeah, that's a long time. And it just speaks to how good this day was. And, you know, by the way, I thought nothing would top last year when we had the final act in that just unbelievable rivalry between TCU and that generation of Ohio State. Like, that semifinal match is still my favorite men's match I've ever had the opportunity to broadcast. This is the best day I've ever been a part of. And again, 2021 Women's National Indoors, Texas versus North Carolina, that will always be match number 1. But this day in its totality surpassed that. Like, this is the day when people ask me, why do you do this job? Like, what's the biggest appeal? I will show them this broadcast because there's just no other sport like it. No other sport where you have the momentum swings. No other sport where you have the energy, the passion. No other sport where you see the displays of dazzling athleticism. Like, who recovered that drop volley or, like, the speed to go do the little flick of the wrist? I don't even remember who it was.
I remember the point you're talking about.
Yeah, but you know the one I'm talking about where it was just like, what the fuck? Like, and how deep are we in this match? And it was just like, that shit happened routinely, once every 4 minutes for the first 9 hours of today. And again, like, there were moments with Lagoo, there were moments with LB, there were moments with PY, there were moments with Von Lobensel's and his forehand tonight. Dietrich, the level he played was the highest level I saw from anyone. This was the best day I've ever been a part of in men's college tennis history. And, you know, the best part is we get to do it all again tomorrow, semifinal Saturday. Again, let's rapid fire through it real quick because we talked about Wake Forest versus Stanford. Doubles, TCU, Texas. Who you got?
I still think you got to favor TCU.
All right, yeah, again, some continuity in those pairings, certainly. Jack versus Timo?
That's the one I have no idea. Look, they've both beaten each other straightforwardly. It was indoors for Timo in Austin. It was outdoors for Jack in Fort Worth. I think just off recency bias, you got to favor Timo, but I guess that's where I'll go. I just don't know.
Pick 'em. Pedro versus Gorsny.
This one is fascinating to me because, look, Pedro clearly not 100%. I don't know what percent he is. It's not 100. Gorsny not playing like he's 100%. He's healthy.
And he's playing his former team who he helped clinch a national championship for, but this time in the semifinals. And your bit of poetry pointing out him and Jonah Braswell playing doubles together after they faced off in the national championship, that was my favorite moment because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't realize that. Continue.
Man, I just don't. I think I want to say that a healthy Pedro I would give the nod to. I'm stumped on that one. I'm really stumped.
Tanner stumped or just regular stumped?
Just regular stumped.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, swings up top certainly. And by the way, move over Von der Schulenberg versus Robertson because the best match of the day is tomorrow's Maxted versus PY battle. Like, that's the one that just signed me up for that. I think Maxted beat him in the NCAA championship. No. PY played 3. No. PY played 4. GA played 3. I'm pretty sure Louis beat PY in the NCAA final last year in what was ultimately obviously the 4-3 win for TCU. Who you got? 2 players playing their best ball to end their career.
Yeah, I honestly don't know how they've done their. I mean, PY's lost 2 matches this year, one to Mitsui.
Okay.
I don't know who the other is.
Couldn't tell you either. There's also a chance the matchups were different, and although I guess not because Pedro, Louis, and Jack all played both Texas matchups.
I think it had to be.
But did PY play 2 at all, and Gorsny was playing 3? I don't remember.
No, I don't think so.
We'll have to hit the books. Who you got?
Boy, oh boy. Give me PY.
All right, court number 4, Cooper taking on Erickson.
Ooh. Again, I mean, I was riding Cooper Westendike to the finish today. I also heavily swing with recency bias. Erickson looked phenomenal today. Cooper came back in that second, but eventually gave it up. I'll take Erickson.
All right, court number 5. I don't know why I thought that long about it. All right, court number 5. Assuming we see the same lineups, Pederico
And Braswell.
Yeah, taking on Jonah. The best brother, by the way, as he likes to tell us.
Best in the fam.
Best in the fam.
Best in the fam. Well, I'll tell you what. Pedrico's not in the fam, so I'll go with Pedrico.
Fair enough. Last but not least, DC/Pascu. And by the way, wouldn't shock me if we saw a switch up just for physicality purposes. Like, you have a good option who's fresh, why not
DC
play him?
rolls it. The chance that Duncan rolls in tomorrow and just says, man, I'm beat, coach. You better play Roher. No.
More likely to play tomorrow, Roher or Ali Ojakar?
Roher.
Oh, didn't they pull Ojakar?
Yeah, I don't think
from
we're
the
going
official lineup? I don't remember if they did
I
or
don't
not.
I don't know if they put him from the official lineup, but
it seems unlikely.
We're just, I mean,
at this point, you're not throwing them in now.
Yeah, we're at the semifinals. You're not rolling a guy out now
100%.
like, oh, that extra day made the difference. He's ready to. No, it's not happening.
Yeah, that's very fair. Very fair.
Is that? I don't even know how many I've got on each side now.
Me neither. I'll just ask you. We won't have to check the math. I'm just going to ask you for the totality of it afterwards.
I mean, Lucas looked really, really good today. Duncan looked really, really good today. Give me DC.
DC, the pick. All right, so then I don't even know where the math. You can't see the math ended up anywhere because there were some you were like, I'm not sure. So in the end, just give me the gut feeling, who you got and why.
I don't even know why, other than they just keep finding a way in these tough ones. They're the defending champions. My gut says it's a 4-3 match, and I'll take TCU.
All right. He says TCU Wake Forest, a national indoor final rematch in our NCAA championship match. Has that ever happened? I'm sure. When's the last time it happened? I got to think about all the Virginia years. 2017, they played Ohio State in the indoor final.
That's crazy, though. I mean, they're just so different games.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen ever. Wow. All right. That's the prediction from Chris Halioris. I'm technically not on the call, so I could not be a wimp and give a prediction.
I don't feel good about
Wake Forest 4-2.
I like the Wake pick. I don't feel good about anything. Not just the match, but any of the individual matches in Texas TCU. I could be 100% wrong on every one of them.
Bruce Burke, Benny Becker, Nick Beattie, all former Michigan Wolverines.
You have to ride with the Longhorns.
But I invented the TCU bandwagon. I was there when Robert Cash had a forehand on top of the net to take the first set on Louis Maxted. He missed it. I love you, Justin Kronagi. Just because it was the best reaction I've ever seen. Kronagi goes, motherfucker! And Louis comes back to win the set. TCU wins the semifinal. They win their first national indoor title in 2022. I was there for this freshman class. I watched the genesis of the development of this group. 4-3.
Let's switch. You know what?
You'll take Texas?
It just dawned on me.
Okay.
We sat here in Waco.
Yeah.
Back in November.
Yes.
At the restaurant.
Yes.
Devin Bowen forced me to make a pick
against
before leaving the restaurant. He said, Chris, you have to give me your team. Who's it going to be? I couldn't think about it. I said, I gotta eat on it. He said, you're telling me before you leave. The TCU guys stood up to leave. They came by the table. He said, who is it? My pick back in November before we started team play. I said, I'm taking Texas. I guess I got to switch and I got to make Devin Bowen and company make me eat my words. I'll take Texas.
All right, he's going Texas 4-3. In that case, fine. I will take TCU. And that pick's really for Nicholas Gruskin, who might disown me if I don't pick his Horned Frogs here in the semifinals. Let's roll the balls out. Let's play some fucking tennis. Who needs to sleep tonight? Let's stay live. We'll just keep going until it's 10 a.m. Central
We'll turn
Time
the computer at the courts.
What's another 7 hours, 51 minutes? I could talk for that long. And by the way, we were hoping for 30 minutes. I think we're over an hour here on this YouTube Live Immediate Reaction podcast. A thank you to you, Chris Halioris. You're the one who had the idea, who said, you know what? What if we call Westoff and try to go live tonight? It was a fantastic idea. I love it.
Look, no one works harder than we do.
I'll say it. This was inspired by John J. Parsons. I am not going to let Jay beat me to releasing content. Never, never, never after losing these past couple of nights. So shout out to you, Jay. Hey, guess what? You know what they say? Iron sharpens iron. Like, you need that sort of person in your life to push you competitively. By the way, that's just how we were raised as Gruskins. Like, we're competitive humans by nature. You should meet my mom. Fuck yeah. What a day. Arguably, final thought. In your lifetime, watching college tennis all 6 years, do you think that he laughed? I just want you all to know he laughed. Was this the best day of college tennis you've experienced? You've come on the road with us now for a while. Is this the best day we've had? He says a quick yes out of his mouth, and it was a day that didn't even involve his Buckeyes. So that's how you know it must have been good.
It means our underage intern is going to be up later tomorrow morning than I am. I can see it in his face right now.
I just want to know. He's walking here. Let me just say, first one to the lobby tomorrow if the three of us loses. Like, that's actually... Don't be first. Be last.
I've been the first every day. I don't think it's going to end.
I mention it. It's because you got to go to the bathroom. I got to pee, and now you're just up. That's something I learned more and more of as I get older as well. All right, bathroom talk means it's probably time to wrap the show. You know who else we need to give a shout-out to? Our super producer, Daniel Westoff. What sort of a job does he do day in, day out?
Fuck of an editing job. Day in, day out.
And
makes everything possible.
And you can call him at 12:45 Central Time, 1:45 Eastern, and say, hey, dude, could we go live? And Chris, will you attest to what was both my and Westoff's reaction to your fantastic idea?
No, wait, just
no. What did we actually say? Do the profane version.
Yeah, fuck no.
And then,
oh God, that's actually a good idea.
And it was literally verbatim what I said, and Westoff goes, "You're not going live," and he goes, "Wait." It actually wouldn't be that hard. And it was a delight. A thank you to Pink Cowboy Hat. Hi, hello to you. A thank you to My Forte, Texas Fight, who must very much like your prediction. And thank you for sticking with us awake. Thank you, College Tennis Nation. Like, we don't get the opportunity to do this without all of your continued support. And obviously, we so greatly appreciate all of you who did take the time to tune in. Of course, we're fucking crushed. Like, why do I run 8 miles every morning? Because I'm so angry that we're not calling the semifinals and finals. That's not meant to be disrespectful to Sam Gore, the rest of the crew, and obviously we're grateful to have had the opportunity to call the first 4 rounds. But, yeah, I'm fucking crushed that Chris and I have to go back to being plebeians tomorrow, just people in the crowd who get to watch and don't get to be a part of the action. And, again, the only reason we get to be a part of the action is because so many of you out in the college tennis world continue to support us. Still send us your DMs. We want to hear your thoughts. And if you are on site tomorrow, you'll see Chris and I outside for the first time. So please, please, please come say hello. By the way, if you have any extra college gear, bring it. Owen Alderman will gladly accept it. It's the least we can help him accomplish. As, of course, sincerely behind the scenes, he's the other person who deserves a shout-out, deals with all of our moodiness here in the broadcast booth, and does it with a smile on his face every time. So shout out to him. Shout out to you, my friend. I thought you were going to have frostbite at one point here tonight in this room, and ultimately you grinded through with me. There's no one else I would rather do this with, so thank you to you. Final thoughts before I sign off. Anything before we before we start semifinal Saturday?
This is semifinal Saturday. It's 2 o'clock in the freaking morning. After 2 o'clock in the morning. No, I mean, look, it's been a great year. It's been every year that we've been doing this, and hopefully we just keep rolling year after year. I too am crushed that it's the last one of the year. On the flip side, I will be excited to be out there, 30 feet outside the door watching it live. But I do enjoy so much getting to call it, getting to get all the hate mail, all the love. That we get
Stanford
from,
bias,
from
Chris
all
Halioris.
of you.
You said it for years.
Have
they listened to the tape? Like, us being accused of Stanford bias might have been the craziest thing that happened today.
Look, it's going to come no matter what.
Yeah.
The people watching are going to think you're against them.
Yeah.
I called the USC-UCLA match. I had a guy telling me that I was so blatantly UCLA biased, and Riley Smith texts in. I'm like, Riley, I don't know who this guy is, but does he know that I know you guys way better than I know the UCLA guys? Like, I don't have any dislike for any of them, but I am not UCLA biased. Okay, like it's just the way it rolls.
Yeah.
That's the way the fans are, and and as you said, it just means they care. Mm-hmm. Like they want to watch. Hey, sure, you're gonna have the jerk every once in a while that's just out there to do whatever. But look, we care too. That's why we do it. It's so much fun, and I'm really gonna miss all of this until it's January before we have dual matches rolling around again. So
good news is we have an individual fall, but yeah, I mean, again, passion, enthusiasm, energy, excellence. That's the story of what is, in my opinion, the greatest quarterfinal Friday we have had in NCAA men's tournament history. I'll also commit myself, and I'm going to commit Chris now. We'll be back tomorrow night to recap everything we learned from semifinals Saturday. I'm going to have to get on the fucking mic. I'm going to be itching all day long. We might do a midday live show just to fire off some takes early, but a thank you to you. A thank you to Daniel Westoff. A thank you to the NCAA team, the Baylor team. Jackie Haddock is quite sincerely. There might be others as good. No one in the world is better at their job than Jackie Haddock, who just keeps everyone here so comfortable. So have to give her a shout-out always before we wrap. With that said, for the fantastic Chris Halioris to my left, Owen Alderman to my right, super producer Daniel Westoff back in Atlanta, Dalton Thieneman back in Indianapolis, the entire Baylor and NCAA tennis teams, and all of us here at both Cracked Racquets and the Believe Podcast Network. I'm your host, Alex Gruskin. Chris Halioris, what do we tell all of our college tennis fans?
Hey! Great shot.
And we will see you all to recap the semifinals. Thanks, everyone.